X-treme wheels. It's the way she says it too. It's called X-treme wheels.
X-treme wheels.
Woo, hip racing music, I guess. Salutations everybody, VicMonado here, and welcome back to part 3 of Red Steel. The casual run, as it were. Last time we gave Angel a little taste of hell, as Tanaka put it, and we're now tracking Ryuichi down to Extreme Wheels.
X-treme wheels.
And yeah, I'm before work again today, at least for my first attempt. I have made sure that I managed to press the record button, which is a good thing. Okay, I'm carrying on my guns. Do I get to keep the revolver? Oh, I've got the empty revolver, so I'll get rid of that as soon as possible. Oh god, I'm having aim problems again. Actually, what's really weird is holding it sideways seems to kind of mitigate it ever so slightly. But here, just a little indication, if you shoot cars enough times they explode, so pretty useful when engaging with enemies, so just kind of be tactical that way. Oh. Oh, does he not come out if I didn't blow up that car? That actually would be kind of clever. Just realised that the previous level, the Massage Parlor didn't have a sword fight. Maybe that's why I like that level a bit more, because I know these sword fights haven't really aged that well. You can damage their huh? I don't have a secondary weapon or something? Oh, okay. I don't actually know. Anyway, I wanted to record this before I went to work. There's a good chance that my that this recording may get interrupted just a tad. Much like yesterday actually. Yeah, you can break their sword. Okay. So he's fighting us with a baseball bat here. There we go. It only takes 2 hits to actually destroy his sword. I'll spare. I'll be nice. Because to be fair, I did blow up your car, so you know your rage is actually warranted. Yeah, so I may have to interrupt this recording, but it's okay. I hope to keep the first half of this if I don't finish this level in one sitting. I just kind of wanted to talk straight away, just get right into this. Especially since there was other topics I want to talk about besides even just the game stuff. I wanted to kind of expand, because if there's any place I can talk about this sort of thing, then, you know, the C-type LP is like the main way of doing it. Oh. 1 dead. 2 dead. Very easy to get those headshots you need. Oh, crap. Fighting me with a shotgun from that far away is probably not a smart decision either. Isn't this really nice remixed music? I think the first act of this game, this part of the game called Sato's Legacy, is kind of the best part. Because, like, it feels like these environments... I don't know. I just like the setting, I guess. I don't know. I like how we've went from, like, a massage parlor to just a car place for just kind of really... Just because links, gangster links, you know. Now we're fighting guys in LA. It's kind of nice, you know. You're not fighting Yakuza the whole way through. But anyway, yeah. I wanted to talk about other things besides that, because big things happened here, you know. If you can't tell already from my accent, I'm in the UK. And we've recently just voted to leave the European Union. Now, my main... I'm not going to make this into like a political video where I'm going to talk about, you know, the pros and cons for doing that. More that I'm going to talk about sort of the reactions I've been hearing about it, because, you know, that's sort of what interests me in this regard. Let's get some more ammo for my revolver. I can't remember if it's upstairs or downstairs is best. We'll go upstairs, because maybe I can snipe from there. Oh, it's a checkpoint. That implies to me that that was the correct way. So let's go downstairs. Yeah, it's more the reaction to it that I'm hearing. Is that, you know, because we voted to leave the EU, there's a lot of kind of... I'm hearing a common notion that... Oh, this also is the correct way. I'm really confused now. Maybe I should go upstairs again. But, yeah. There's this notion that, oh, hey, because we voted to stay out, it's like we're being wiped off the face of Europe. Like, oh, hey, like, they don't exist anymore. They're not going to interact. You know, like, of course we're going to interact with Europe, you know. I mean, like, we're still in the same place. You know, the continent isn't moved just because we decided to leave the EU. That's just crazy, you know? So that's the first part, is that people overreacting is what I'm hearing a lot of. And I feel like, if anything, you know, the value of our currency dropping was something that's to be expected, you know, straight away. Things are always going to get worse before they get better. Didn't you hear Michael Caine from The Dark Knight, you know, in Batman? Things are always going to get worse before they get better, you know. That's just the way things are, especially with this sort of level of change. But what I just don't get beforehand is how, you know, people turn this into a very kind of moralistic kind of argument, where it's about like, oh hey, because you voted to leave Europe, that means you clearly hate the rest of Europe. You know, that's not really the case. It's more like, you know, you're in a system that potentially isn't working well for you, so why would you stay just out of principle like that? You know, a lot of the arguments for staying in Europe were purely stuff like that, where it's like, you know, it's immoral to leave. It's not correct to leave because of that. And, you know, just like, the thing I didn't like about it as well was like, there was a lot of fear mongering. Now, I come from a household where the majority vote was actually to kind of stay in. In fact, because I'm in Scotland, most people actually, the majority of Scotland actually wanted to stay in the EU. But we voted against, you know, overall Britain has voted against that. You know, wanted to leave. What am I doing? I've moved the crane about. Oh, I've created a path for myself. Right, okay. So yeah, the majority of Britain had voted to leave, you know, and this is also leading to other arguments and stuff like, oh, it wasn't by a large enough value, so we should do a re-vote, you know, we should do this, and this, you know, that sort of stuff. My point is that, you know, if anything, you know, when something doesn't go your way in an argument, you know, we had a democratic vote, it's in everyone's best interest to work together at this point in time, you know, instead of having discussions about how we can overturn it, instead of, you know, discussions of how, like, why it's so wrong and stuff, you know, give it a go, you know, and don't just kind of generalize everybody the opposite point of view. And this kind of goes for politics in general, whereas, like, even if somebody is supporting Trump, doesn't necessarily mean they want to watch the world burn. Perhaps they just don't want Hillary to be president. I'm not going to go too much into that one, but, you know, that's just an example, is that when someone has the opposite view, don't necessarily think it's, oh, because they're racist, oh, because they don't want people to come into the country, oh, they hate Europe, and all that sort of stuff. There's other interests in mind as well, and some people are seeing the bigger picture here. I was almost a little bit surprised when I saw that the majority of people who voted to leave were actually older people as well. You know, you would have thought that, you know, the older people would be more abject to change and the younger people would be more, like, wanting to leave. And that's how it seemed to be the case when it came to when Scotland was voting to leave Britain, but that's not how it is now, so... Oh, Mew is actually in the warehouse, so we actually have come close to finding her. I didn't actually know that. I didn't get to rewatch that cutscene yet that I skipped last time because, you know, failed recordings and all. But yeah, so that's my general whole point, or my whole thoughts on that. I didn't want to go much deeper into this. This isn't a political video. We're playing Lead Steel. But, you know, on a more lighthearted note, and since we're in a car place, I thought I'd mention that, you know, how Britain has that stereotype of how, you know, people wearing top hats and people drinking tea and being all polite and civilized and all that sort of stuff. You know, that's sort of a stereotype in a way. One place I found where I think that actually might still be kind of the case, actually, is when we're actually on the roads. Now, I can't speak for all of England because... Oh. Right, that's dangerous for me. Right, I think I shouldn't... I don't think I should shoot out when I'm up there because there's just too much... Oh, this guy's in such a dangerous position. Anyway, right, so what I was going to say is... Holy crap. He didn't die from that revolver shot. I think they are getting more HP now. Or they've got body... Oh, maybe they have body armor too. They've got a mix of Yakuza people, it seems, and... just kind of gangsters from LA. I'm really getting my ass kicked at the moment because of jitter. But, oh. Nope. What was I saying? Yeah, so the thing is, the places I'd say that still kind of resides, that sort of mannerism, is actually in the driving. Because as a road user myself, driving cars recently, you know, just over time I've been driving cars a lot more often these days. And I found that, you know, we're actually fairly polite when it comes to the road. Like, our experiences when we went down to England has been a bit mixed, like especially in Manchester, people are actually all in it for themselves. Like, they won't share lanes, they won't give you space or anything like that. But when I'm in Scotland and stuff, even when I'm no longer a learner driver, people are incredibly lenient and actually incredibly polite, you know, with me on the road. Like, they let me go first, they, you know, they try and, like, give you space, you know. The only place this doesn't seem to apply is if you are oh, showers? Oh, there's just this one guy here who just doesn't want to. He just doesn't want to fight. All right, I won't shoot you. That's all right. Cool. Oh, a revolver. Thank you. I'll take that.
Okay, I'm out of here.
You know, being in a bathroom and being in the shower didn't stop the other guys in Angel's Heaven from, like, picking up their guns and trying something. Just saying. You could still have picked up that revolver, given it a good old crack. But yeah, that's where it still exists. That's where the good manners still exist. Is apparently on our roads, because drivers here are actually incredibly well mannered. Like, I can't speak well enough actually of the drivers here, and that really surprised me. Is I thought, you know, I've heard of road rage. I thought people were just going to be incredibly aggressive, uncompromising as a road user. But, you know, people in Scotland have really impressed me in terms of their driving. Like, not everybody is a gem, but there's enough good drivers out there for me to really notice that, yeah, we've got things a bit sorted here, and people are super polite because it's just like people like flashing you to go forward, people just really being considerate towards other drivers, and that's actually really nice to see. I didn't want to go too far into that. Actually, there's nowhere else to go further into that, but it was just also kind of contextually relevant because we're in a car place right now. By the way, I didn't mention it enough in the first episode, but the music in this game is actually fairly good. This isn't my favorite track, but you know, the overall main theme, you know, the one that kind of goes. Yeah, that theme. I think I probably edited that. Well, that theme, I like that. It's played consistently throughout the game in different turtle levels, very dramatic or in its more subtle ways. I like that theme. I like that really kind of like, that almost kind of J-poppy theme that, oh, right, well I kind of got a taste of my own medicine there. I kind of like that J-poppy theme that happens whenever you get into like a gunfight. Oh, right, okay, so I'm back to this bit. The guy who shouts "Stop, you bastard" sounds a little bit like the voice actor Yuri Lowenthal. And if you don't know who that is, you might know him as the voice actor of Luke from Tales of Graces. No, Graces, Tales of Abyss. But I'm just sort of interested because like his voice is kind of, it's very distinct. It's kind of this boy teenager's voice, and it works really good for anime dubs because, you know, a lot of characters tend to be younger teen characters anyway, so Yuri Lowenthal's got that sort of voice that's suited for that. Can I just block this car here? No, it's not going to blow up, alright. The trick is I'll just try to do more of what they were doing to me and just kind of blow up the car. Did he die? Yeah, he died. Can we stop calling each other murderers, you know, because that's not really an insult to people who kill on a regular basis, you know? Just saying. It's like me insulting an artist for like, stop you doodler. You know, okay, I can't think of anything really good there, but you know what I mean. So, in X-treme wheels, and I suppose we can move on to something else at the moment. What I wanted to further talk about as well was about the initial hype for the Wii a bit more. I mean, I know I mentioned it in episode 1, but you know, I didn't really get into detail about kind of what it was like when this new kind of control scheme was pitched, because it was just as much about the controller as it was about the console, in all honesty. Like, when you watch the initial pitching trailer, which you might not know of, I'll maybe put a bit of it on screen if I can. It never really paid it, you know, the trailer never really paid close attention to the console itself, more or less just the controller itself. And that was a good, clever idea. They never even showed the gameplay initially in the first teaser trailers as well. It was just showing what you were gesturing with the Wii remote and making sounds that kind of coincided with what they were doing. So it could be cooking, it could be, and that was also kind of exciting, is that the prospect of turning something that's mundane into something exciting. It's something that I know Nintendo can do really well. As demonstrated from the WarioWare games and what's his name? Rhythm Paradise or Rhythm Heaven. It's those games that basically manage to kind of take mundane looking activities but actually take the fun of them, you know, like make them stimulating, make them still feel like they're worth doing in a way. Like, and that's the same thing I like consistently throughout lots of media that I enjoy, including movies and stuff, is whenever you're able to like look and delve into the details of the normal, the things we do every day. In fact, that was actually a module I took during university, was the art of the everyday, in which it was, that one's even more in depth though. That one looks into everything you do, you know, during the day, everything that's regular as a ritual, as a kind of art piece in and of itself. And that's getting a bit too conceptual for my taste, where it's like, you know, the piece itself is like a messy bed that she's decided not to tidy up.
Someone has broken in. Stay alert.
I don't actually know who's talking through that speakerphone there. He's clearly Japanese, but it's not the same voice actor that plays Ryuichi, so I'm really not sure who that is. Who keeps telling him to stay alert. Oh, I think this is the first, like, yeah, okay, right. We'll probably swap our default machine for this. This is the Scar. This is a really, really good machine gun, actually. No, assault rifle. And it's actually kind of endgame-ish. Like, you're not going to get, like, many of these until, like, the end of the game. He's looking the complete the wrong way. You're not going to get many of these until like the end of the game, by the way, the Scar. So it's actually kind of surprising to get it now, but I think because it's early game time, you kind of want to give you good weapons to make it feel a bit easier. Which is good. I like that. It's almost like the Castlevania Symphony of the Night kind of method, where you make them feel overpowered because then you give them something to look forward to later on. Because look at this, this machine gun just drops them dead. Where are you? This machine gun is impressive. I keep calling it machine gun. You know, I probably will do that a lot, where I won't make that distinction between machine gun, submachine gun, or assault rifle very often, simply because if the gun fires fast, I just think machine gun. I know that's not correct, but you know, what are you gonna do? This is the car wash section. Nice little set pieces throughout these levels here. And none of that cinematic crap that you get in, you know, like a bit too much in games these days, especially shooters, where it feels like no quick time events actually as well, even though they were definitely prominent at the time of this game's creation. Oh crap! Right, okay, yes, you gotta find cover. This is actually kind of fun because you have this kind of stockpile of scars right here. I also like the fact that, unlike in GoldenEye and stuff, you know, ammo doesn't come in these like green cases or anything. Ammo is just the gun itself. So I'm effectively always picking up these guns and just emptying the ammo clips out of them and putting them into the gun I currently have, you know. But the protagonist of this game never once thinks to just, you know, maybe lift up another one of these and like two-handed hold the gun or something. I mean, of course, granted you can't do that with this sort of gun, but I mean, you know, with the pistols, he could have picked up 2 pistols. This bit's kind of nice. I like. Typically turret sections get a bad rap, but you know, if done well, this is technically like a turret section, and I'm holding off one spot that's constantly moving. Okay, maybe that's not the turret then, because turrets don't move. Maybe, well, maybe sometimes, because you know, they mount turrets on the back of jeeps, the back of cars, and stuff like that. But yeah, going back to the Wii remote thing. Be able to turn mundane things into something exciting. One thing that always caught people's eyes during that was the sword fighting demonstration and the gun demonstration. And this game promised to have both. You know, like that trailer showed that, oh, you know, you'll be able to have sword fights and you'll be able to have gun fights on your Wii, on your console, and it'll be realistic one-to-one movement and stuff like that, you know. That was a lot to be excited about. And Red Steel was a game that was going to give us both at once. Like, sign us in. Everybody was excited. Okay, not everybody, but a lot of people who had, you know, hopes for the Wii were excited for this game. And I guess the same is still holds true for its sequel as well, you know. The fact that Red Steel 2 offered Wii Motion Plus support, and people already had their appetites kind of whetted by Wii Sports Resort. Because I mean, the one-to-one sword fighting in that was great. I loved the showdown mode in Wii Sports Resort. But to be fair, when it comes to gaming, I do a lot of projecting, where it's like, the game itself doesn't necessarily have to be that great, I will admit. And I can just kind of imagine and pretend that, oh yes, I am now like playing a Bleach game, or in Red Steel 2, I'll pretend that I'm like playing as Zoro from One Piece, because like, you're literally able to fire a sword beam by doing the same gesture as like what he does for Pound Cannon. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then I'm sorry, not gonna. Anyway, so going up the stairs here, I actually can't remember how far along this level is. I'm hoping to maybe beat this before what's his name, going to work, but I can't actually remember the length. It doesn't feel like there should be that much left. I just opened this locked door that's outside. Right, I think this level's broken up into 2 parts though, so we'll have to wait and see. Like, X-treme Wheels I think is actually 2 stages long, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't want to spoil anything just in case. Oh, sword fight!
I get a worthy opponent. It seems to me, though, that you need a few lessons with the sword from a real pro.
Yeah, I feel like this guy definitely is Yuri Lowenthal. Like, I'm gonna have to look this up later on. I'll look it up and probably put text on screen if it is. Right, this is just trying to tell me that, yeah. So this tip is telling me to do what I did in the previous fight, where you can actually damage the opponent's sword. It's funny because during my initial playthrough of this, I actually ignored this and never actually damaged anybody's sword, but it's actually a really good strategy, and actually something you need to know if you want to get the good ending of this game. Well, you just got schooled by a real pro. Something about that feels really weird, by the way, about how like you get more respect for leaving them alive and all that sort of stuff. I don't know, like, I haven't seen, let's say, a lot of samurai films. Like, I've seen a few, but it doesn't seem to me that leaving them alive is ever really like an option, even in those films a lot. Like, vengeance is incredibly justified and all sorts of stuff. You know, like, the morals are a little bit different when it comes to those sort of samurai flicks. So I do find it kind of weird that this game's all about, like, oh, you respect if you keep them alive, when really, like, no, they should, if we're going for this whole...
Right there, pal. It's payback time.
If we're going for this whole gaijin, like, samurai perspective that everyone keeps referring to you as, you know, technically, if we're following their rules, like they should be ashamed, so ashamed that they lost that we just kill them, we execute them ourselves. I don't know. That's the perspective I seem to get when it comes to like this sort of culture, as it were. This guy's just gonna throw out heavy attacks here. This guy is maybe like a mini boss. He gave us 2 sword fights in a row. Trying to remind you that that's still in this game, I guess. But he only does heavy attacks, actually. I like your overall look, so you get respects. I respect your fashion. That's about it. Is this the level over? I don't actually know. Much further on ahead here. I think if it is, then I should be ready to round this off fairly soon. You can break your opponent's sword if you're left. Yeah, I already know that. So yeah. Oh, but you know, I didn't get into further enough about how the advertising, you know, like, of course advertising is going to tout a product to be much better than it actually is, but they were really trying to sell each controller feature. And I really want to remind about that, because I mentioned the DVD I got with the official Nintendo magazine in the first part of this Let's Play, where I mentioned about how, you know, it kept showing all these amazing features of the Wii, the big damn truck and all that sort of stuff, yeah?
I repeat, stay on alert.
Yeah. It showed all these amazing features that I really liked. But what I found particularly funny about all of that was like how, you know, some of the footage they showed, like from like Super Mario Galaxy, they really touted every feature of the Wii Remote as amazing. Like, a lot of footage would show one person playing in the room and like 3 other people would sit there watching that person play, like super content that they're just watching this person play a game. And I mean, like, it's like this console is so great that it basically is like a performance art in and of itself. Like, you will be so amazed by the Wii that you are going to like watch someone else play it and be satisfied with that. There's an amazing footage. I think I'll see if I can find it, right, of like 2 Asian people playing Super Mario Galaxy, and oh right, this is a ramp. I can jump over this, right? Yeah, okay. 2 people playing Super Mario Galaxy, and what's his name? One of them is collecting coins, and then he walks over to like what is this? Oh, Scar. He walks over and collects some coins, and then he holds like the speakers from the Wii Remote up to like his girlfriend's ear, and it's going ding ding ding, and he looks so amazing and content with just like, wow, sound is coming out of this controller. It's amazing. Well, it's actually in reality, like, the Wii Remote speaker I think has had potential to be like really great, to add a lot to it, and in some games it really does add to the experience in a way, like not significantly, but you know, it adds something. Yeah, bright lights. They're using bright lights to, can I shoot the lights out? Crap. Yeah, okay, I can. Well, that's me. Yeah, and they're using bright lights to kind of, no. Now you just kind of freaking threw me off with these lights. I think of ADD or something, attention deficit disorder, but, we're almost there. But for the most part, some games obnoxiously use the speakers on the Wii Remote, and eventually with age, you know, depending on like how well kept, or you know, how much you flailed your Wii Remote around, they could eventually get kind of damaged. Eventually, you know, the Wii Remotes, and as a result, the sound sometimes would cut out and go like a bit janky and glitchy. You know, the sound that came out of at least some of my older Wii Remotes. And eventually, for some games, it's just kind of irritating. So I just kind of turned the sound off. Oh, this is just the original one. I thought for a second this was like that other like really nice handgun that I like, but it's not. I forget what it's called. We'll get to it eventually. It kind of reminds me a little bit like the Bond gun, even though the P90 I suppose is kind of like the Bond gun. I hope I'm naming it right. I might be misreading it. Wait, where did those 2 guys go?
You're alive? You hush. And you die.
It's really good soundproofing in that room, or like the opposite of that, in that the sound actually just kind of carries out. I just run through without them shooting me. Nope. Nope. Oh, they're all in there. Okay. This is machine gun. Oh, he opened the door. He opened the door. Ah. It's funny because they left Scars running all over the place with that really nice gun, but they haven't bothered. None of them are actually using the Scar, so it just goes to show that it really is just for you to use. Oh.
God, please, save me!
Sorry, but your princess is in another castle, as it were, apparently. Oh, that's all the Scar ammo? I'm so glad they're kind of keeping me topped up, and yep, I'm not controlling the Wii Remote to do that every time. It's really weird that this has happened. I hope it really is just with age of this Wii Remote, but I got this thing where I would turn off the Wii Remote speakers for some games because it sometimes got obnoxiously used. and then at other times it ends up like not being used.
Go! Please! Baby, help me! Oh God, please! Let me go, you
Oh, this
creep!
is like a timer bit,
He
I
must
think?
know where Sato is. Get him! Hurt him! Cripple him! Do what you must. I only care about his tongue. Then bring me the information. I'll be at the cargo terminal.
Oh yes, I have a timer to get. Yeah, okay, I remember this now. Yeah, I've got a timer to actually get into the cargo bit. So what? You're running away, but you're supposed to get my tongue, apparently. Oh, that's right. They're all trying to escape. So I can't get into that one. You got to get to the one at the end. It's okay. You have more than enough time to make this, by the way. Oh, you got to do a sword fight though first. So he's very Yakuza. What's his name? Lost my train of thought. I keep losing my train of thought because of this game. I'm starting to kind of like the balance of like this game is a bit strange because it gives me stuff to talk about it sometimes and then sometimes it doesn't, so I end up going into my topic and I just kind of haven't found the exact balance just yet. I don't think this guy's going to do a heavy attack, so I'm just going to go in and use your usual waggle strategy. You don't want to ring him out too much, otherwise you will run out of time, I suppose. But you know, overall you're not in any danger. Although sometimes it also that kind of came back to bite me when it came to LPing as well, because like sometimes I would have the I'll spare you. Sometimes I had the speakers on and then sometimes I'd had them off for recordings, and you can definitely tell some of my older LPs. Nowadays I just kind of keep them on, especially for this game, because this game is one of those ones that does actually put it to use, but we'll see that in a later episode. But anyway, for now, abruptly ending, thank you very much for watching this episode of Red Steel. I think this is the end of this level. Extreme Wheels, thank you for joining us. Today we covered the E referendum and multiple parts about the Wii hype that I kind of wanted to talk about anyway. So we'll just end on this cutscene and have a look at how I scored, see how we did. 25 minutes, warrior accuracy still kind of crap, but I get respect, so there we go. Kind of really does not give you that choice of whether or not to spare them or not then if you kind of are being ranked by how many respect points you have. You know, I kind of don't like that. I kind of wish that I get something for actually killing them, but nah. Okay, anyway, that's everything. See you later.